Hello students, today we will do the first poem of Flamingo, My Mother at 66. This poem is written by Kamala Das. Kamala Das was born in Malabar, Kerala. She is recognized as one of India's foremost poets. Her works are known for their originality, versatility, and the indigenous flavor of the soil. Kamala Das has published many novels and short stories in English and Malayalam under the name Madhva Kuti. Some of her works in English include the novel Alphabet of Lust in 1977, a collection of short stories Padmavati the Harlot and Other Stories 1992, in addition to 5 books of poetry. She is a sensitive writer who captures the complex subtleties of human relationships in lyrical idiom. My Mother at 66 is an example of this. Kamala Das has received many awards for her literary contribution, including nominated and shortlisted for Nobel Prize for Literature in 1984, Award of Asian Pen Anthology 1964, Kerala Sahitya Academy Award 1969, Sahitya Academy Award 1985, Honorary D.Litt by University of Calicut 2006. On 31st May 2009, aged 75, she died at a hospital in Pune. Introduction of the present poem. This poem is a short verse without a full stop. The poet is on the way to Cochin airport along with her mother, who is quite old now. Seeing her mother's dull face, a sense of fear arises in the poet. She first compares her mother's appearance to that of a corpse. She then describes her mother as the winter moon. In both instances, the poet alludes to the imminent death of her mother. Aging and the fear of losing one's years due to it are the central themes of this poem. However, in the end, the poet also realizes that fear of death does not come with aging, but remains with one from childhood. She also stresses the mother-daughter relation and the loss the former is going to suffer because of her mother's death. The poet also tries to hide her feeling from her mother, either by looking at the things that are young, like children or green trees, or by putting a fake smile, and I smiled, smiled, and smiled on her face. In this poem, the poet relates a personal experience. She brings out a common paradox of human relationships and portrays a sensational separation of a mother and a daughter. She has been able to capture almost all the emotions which a daughter is filled with on bidding farewell to her beloved mother. Sometimes we do feel deep sympathy for someone, but we fail to express it in a proper manner. Here is the poem. Driving from my parents' home to Cochin last Friday morning, I saw my mother beside me doze, open-mouthed, her face ashen like that of a corpse, and realized with pain that she was as old as she looked, but soon put that thought away, and looked out at young trees sprinting, the merry children spilling out of. But after the airport security check, standing a few yards away, I looked again at her wan, pale as a late winter's moon, and felt that old familiar ache, my childhood's fear. But all I said was, "See you soon, Amma." All I did was smile and smile and smile. Explanation of the poem. The poet was driving from her parents' home to Cochin Airport last Friday morning. Her mother was sitting beside her. She was 66 years old. The old lady was dozing. Her mouth remained open. Her face looked pale and faded. It was grey like ash. It looked lifeless like a corpse. The lifeless and faded face of her mother pained her heart. The old lady seemed to be lost in her own thoughts. The poet wanted to turn away her attention from her mother for a while, and so she looked outside. The world outside was full of life and activity. The young trees seemed running fast. The children looked happy while moving out of their homes. When they were at the airport, they had to undergo a security check. The poet was standing a few yards away from her mother. She looked again at her old mother. She felt pained to look at the colorless, lifeless, and pale face of her mother. Her face looked faded like the late winter's moon, which had lost its shine and strength. This aroused the old familiar ache in the poet's heart. Her childhood fear overpowered her again. However, she controlled herself. She appeared to be normal. She scattered smiles on her face while saying goodbye to her mother. She wished to see her old Amma again. Some of the poetic devices that have been used in the poem are simile, imagery, personification,